Welcome, 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 and we're so glad that you can join us today. I have a super special guest that I love being with, and all across the plains of America, there's an excitement that is brewing because revival is indeed in the air. And in fact, you only got one of two choices. You can either succumb to the virus of the gloom that is trying to descend upon the earth, or you can pierce through in the culture of revival and move where God is, where the action and the life is contagious. And when I think of that, I think of my friend Mario Murillo. Would you please join us today? Look at that. You're a breath of fresh air, and what a sunny disposition behind your head. You've got, what, the Hertz Arena, where we're going to be October 24th and 25th, and that is the Hertz Arena.
Yes, sir. That's the actual Hertz Arena. We're approaching 6,000 people that are registered for the event. And we're, you and I, this is a big deal for us. I mean, we're both taking a gigantic step of faith.
Huge.
But we feel with the condition of the country, there are two extremes right now. You mentioned the gloom, and you and I both believe that we're in the middle of a visitation of God over America. And it's like Isaiah 60, gross darkness will cover the earth and deep darkness the people. But the glory of the Lord will rise upon you, and nations shall come to the brightness of your rising. This is a gathering that we want to encourage everyone that can possibly. I mean, if you live near Estero and Naples, Florida, Fort Myers, you need to be at the Hertz Arena. But if you know someone that lives there, you need to contact them and tell them these 2 nights and 2 days, actually, because we have day sessions, are going to be amazing.
They are going to be amazing. And Estero and Naples, Fort Myers. I mean, listen, man, this is for real. October 24th and 25th, you want to go to fireandglorytour.com. And for the first time today, Mario, you and I have been footing the bill on this thing. We're practicing what we preach. We're sowing into the souls and the awakening. But they can join us. You guys, we now have a donation area. I think Mercedes and Steve put it up today. So you can be right alongside us. And every soul that is saved, every breakthrough that happens. And I think that we're looking for an atmospheric shift. I really mean this. There are times when, let me just use this piece of paper here. What happens is God wants there to be a breakthrough. We talk about that word, but it means somebody has to pierce through. There has to be, someone's going to have to pierce through that dimension so that something new can come down into the earth. And I believe that we've been pushing. Why you were right to choose Florida is because I just came from Pennsylvania. The atmosphere is pregnant, but right now it's Gettysburg. It's back and forth in the spirit realm. In Florida, we have a booster thrust behind us because we're going for an atmospheric breakthrough and something new in America. And Mario, you were right. It's the optimum environment where we've already got a certain amount of breakthrough. So now we're going to really create that stay through that's going to produce something sustainable.
I feel that everyone talks about what moment are we in? What is the word of the Lord for this hour? And we have prophecies coming at us from all directions now. I don't know what's happened in the heavenlies, but apparently there's an abundance of prophetic right now. But one of the things that I think everyone needs to remember is when Daniel heard that Nebuchadnezzar issued a death order for all the wise men of Babylon because he had a nightmare that was so terrifying that there was no way he could exist on half answers. So he told all the soothsayers, the New Age people, and everybody said, you've been coming up with this stuff, but I need a real answer. And so Daniel felt heroic because he decided to make an appointment with the king. That's what we're doing, an appointment with the king in the Hertz Arena. And in that appointment, he said, I'm going to go in and ask for time because we need time for us to save these, even though they're false, who want to help save their life. It wasn't until he walked in and found out he was on the liquidation list. So sometimes what we think is about saving America, it's not just that, it's us. It's saving our own lives, our own freedom, our children. Our own welfare is tied into this. And so what happened is Daniel prayed and God gave him miraculously the interpretation of the nightmare. And I tell you what, no one has the interpretation to America's nightmare right now. Nobody's got that but God. But I believe these 2 days that we're going to spend in the Hertz Arena are going to be that moment, like when it totally shifted. Daniel stood before the king. He looked at the king. He said, "King, this is what you dreamed, isn't it?" And they fell. You know, when we do our tent crusades, we have gangsters, drug addicts, people that are satanic worshipers walk into our tent. And all of a sudden, by that same spirit, the power of God points them out and says, "This is what you're going through. This is exactly what you're going through." And they're remarkably saved, dramatically converted. Well, that hour is here. And what we're doing in the Hertz is no joke. It's no game. We're going there to believe for a shift in America, a miracle like what Daniel saw before Nebuchadnezzar.
Well, you know, it's so funny in a sense because you are such a great evangelist. But I always tell you this, that the real unique evangelism gift in the last days is this John the Baptist kind of gift, which is speaking hard truths to everybody. And the sinners get clarity and they go, "Dang, I need to get myself right with God." And they came and repented. I mean, John the Baptist, Jesus said he was a prophet like no other prophet, but who had sinners racing to get saved and confess their sins? It was an evangelism anointing on that John the Baptist. You've got that unique chemistry where you got to keep doing what you're doing. Because what you said, Mario, is prophetically profound. It's not about saving America. People that think that the political thing is out there don't understand. Mm-hmm. You're talking about saving your own. What's happening now in America is beyond politics. I heard Tucker Carlson say this last night. He said, you know, you're talking about what's going on with the transgender and the sexual grooming, the pornography, and the drag queen hour, and the teachers who are pushing the gender reassignment identity stuff on their own little kids from kindergarten, first grade, second grade, because they're coming out of this, they're wackos coming out of the university system as teachers, totally indoctrinated in the wokeness to go be predatory on your children. Anyway, so Tucker's going, you know, I think a lot of us thought the transgender issue was a political issue about a certain class of people who were feeling picked on and not included. And then we thought, well, things have changed and now the transgenders are accepted and embraced. He said it was never about that. It wasn't about politics. It was about the takeover of the United States in every area by a new ideology. It's not going to stop at the political ballot box because its goal is more ambitious than getting an office. It's more ambitious than just having equity or equal rights. It's about a complete reordering of society and a redefining of who is good and who is evil and who the state should sanction, isolate, and punish. That, my friend, is what's in the atmosphere right now that we're contending over.
You know, one of the verses that is so interesting in the Bible is the one in Matthew 11, verse 12. The kingdom suffers violence, and the violent take it by force. And it was an explanation. It was an answer to a question, because no one could explain the towering impact of John the Baptist, because they had all of Judea came to be baptized, thousands and tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands, maybe one of the largest moral reformations Israel ever saw. And they were thirsty for an explanation. Even the Pharisees, they're befuddled. How did this happen? Well, it happened because of what Jesus said. Two forces collided, the immovable object and the irresistible force. And the interesting collision was the misery of the people. They were driven to misery. See, the parallel between Pharisaical laws and wokeness is not only ironic, it's eerie. It's the same. Because according to the experts that I read in the Old Testament and the New Testament, they said that the Pharisees esteemed 80% of the public to be morally inferior. That's exactly what wokeness is doing. There are a handful of elite people in control right now, and they look at the 80% of the population and saying, you're not open-minded enough, your words are racist, there's an underlying undercurrent, you shouldn't have children. Our youth are being taught not to believe that they even deserve to live, that you are a kind of an infection and not a real person.
There is so much more waiting for you over at lancewallnell.com/podcast. This was only an excerpt. This isn't the whole episode. There's so much over there. Be sure you go check it out. lancewallnell.com/podcast. See you over there.
Everybody is concerned about what's happening to the economy. I mean, it wouldn't be too far conjecture to say that it's almost as though America is experiencing a recession that looks like it could be heading into a depression. And I'm praying that Donald Trump's prophecy that you'll see a depression the likes of which you've never seen never happens. But you know, the guy was uncannily accurate in so many things he said. That's why I'm telling my friends to go to Birch Gold right now, lancewallnell.com/Birch. Get the 25-page report on how you can protect your wealth, protect your investments, protect your IRA, protect your retirement. The report that they give you is an explanation as to how commodities and gold and silver variously work during periods of time when the dollar is unstable. I'm telling you, you need to get the education. Knowledge is power. lancewallnell.com/Birch. You